Hi friends, this is Stephen McNutt with Densemode.com. Today we're going to do a quick walkthrough on SSL decryption using firepower. So the reason why we are interested in doing this is because today most web traffic is encrypted, and if we want to implement policies that require us looking at the content of web pages or headers or whatnot, then we'll need to decrypt that first. But then we have to re-encrypt the traffic to send down to the client. So that's what this whole process is about. So let's take a quick look at the workflow. And right here, step one is we're going to create a certificate signing request in Firepower Management Center. And this is going to then be used to issue a certificate, and this certificate is going to be a CA certificate. So the firepower sensors are going to behave as though they were subordinate CAs to the certification authority that is issuing the certificate. Then we're going to create an SSL policy that uses that certificate, where we're going to define what we want to decrypt. We're going to assign that policy to an access control policy. Then we'll go ahead and deploy the policy, and we'll test it on an endpoint and verify that it's working. So let's get started. Here we have our Firepower Management Center, and we're going to go to Objects, PKI, Internal CAs, and we're going to click Generate CA. And we'll just call ourselves p2.fmc.densemode.com. And country name, US. Organization, T, common name. We'll just borrow this from up here, like that. And then we're going to click Generate CSR for Generate Certificate Signing Request. So this is a base 64 encrypted, so called a PEM request. And we're now going to hop over to our Active Directory controller, and we're going to go to our Active Directory server, Certificate Services server, and we're going to request a certificate. Let's back up for a second, because there's actually something important I need to show you here. If we go over here, there's this tool called Certificate Services, which you can access that from Server Manager, which always comes up when you log into Windows, or you can easily find it. And it lives under Tools down here, and you'll see it's this guy here, Certification Authority. So let's go take a look at that really quick, because without this information, it will be a struggle to make this work. So we're going to go to the Certificates Snap-in, and if you click on Certificate Templates, and then you right-click and select Manage. This is where you manage the templates for your CA. Now, what templates are is it just predefines all the different types of certificates that you would issue for doing various things. And the kind of certificate we're interested in is called a subordinate certification authority. It's this guy here. So we're going to right-click on this. We're going to select Duplicate Template. And then here, by the way, you have to, if you don't do this, you don't rename it. You can't change it after you click OK. This is like a one-time thing. So we'll call it Super Awesome Firepower CA. And then this is also very important, is under security. If you want to actually see this thing show up, then you need to make sure that you have rights. And because we're just doing a quick and dirty lab, what I'm going to do is allow authenticated users to enroll. This is not something you would do in production, so please don't do that. Okay, so now we've created we've copied our subordinate certification authority template, renamed it to Super Awesome Firepower CA. Now we're going to Come back over to our certification authority tool, and here we'll go new certificate template to issue, and let's go find the template we just created. This guy right here. Click OK. All right. So that part is done. So let's go back over here. Oops, not here. We're staying on the certification authority, but we're going back to this guy here, which is the certificate services tool. And we'll go to advanced certificate request. First, let's make sure our template's there. There it is. So that's the template we defined. Like I said, if you don't go to the security tab and make sure you change the security, then it won't show up here. So now we're gonna paste in our base 64 encoded certificate request. We're going to set the template. We're going to click submit. We're going to make sure we want base 64. We're going to select download certificate. And there it is right there. So we'll go find it in the folder. And we'll right click. We're going to open it with Notepad because you'll find it's just a text file, just like that. So we'll grab that, copy it, come back over to FMC. And then here's this guy here. So now we're going to go in, we're going to edit it, and we're going to click install certificate. We're going to paste in our issued certificate from the certification authority, and we're going to click save. And now we've just magically made Firepower Management Center a certification authority for this Active Directory domain, which then it can use any sensors that it controls to re-sign certificates. So that's pretty rad. Now, one last thing I want to show you back here is in the certificate management tool. If you come over and look at, let's go back, there it is. You look at issued certificates. Okay, this is the certificate we just issued. If for some reason you decommission Firepower, or there's ever a problem or anything, what you would do is you would come in here and you would revoke the certificate. So this is a really important aspect of PKI, is you have the ability to not only issue certificates but revoke them. So that's something to keep in mind. So let's come back to Firepower and put this guy to use. So we're going to go over to Policies, SSL, add a new policy, and we're going to call it Bubba's SSL Decrypt. And that looks good. So, and we're going to edit it real fast. And we're going to add a rule called decrypt all the things. And we're set an action of decrypt resign. You notice there's another one called known key. What known key is used for is if you have, say, a bunch of web servers, you can take all the private keys for those web servers and put them in Firepower Management Center. There's, other than just having your firewall, that's really the only use for it, is if your firewall is in front of a farm of web servers. So now we'll just specify anything that's coming from the inside, and then we'll click add. Oops, so resending certificate must be up. Oops. So let's pick our certificate. There we go. Click add. Just like that. Save changes. Now we'll go to Policies, Access Control. We're going to edit our ACP. And then right up here at the top, you'll see there's a field called SSL Policy. So we'll click that. We'll select the policy we just defined. Click Save. And then we're going to click Deploy. So we're going to, you can see that this got changed and this got changed. These other things got changed because there were some Firepower rule updates that came down, but those are unrelated to what we're doing. Okay, so we come up here and take a look at our status. Now it's going to take a couple of minutes for that to deploy. So while that's happening, let's take a quick look at the network topology so that the verification makes sense. So let me come back to this, and we're going to take a look at branch 2. So right now we are deploying this policy to this guy right here, this branch 2 P2 B2 FTD. So we define the policy over here on the Firepower Management Center in our headquarters. We're now pushing that policy over the network over to this Firepower Threat Defense sensor right here. And then when we're done with that, we're going to log into branch 2 PC, and then we're going to go surf the internet and we'll see what we'll get. So if the Active Directory controller lives up here in the data center. It's this guy here, and then this is how we're getting out to the internet. And it looks like we're pretty close to the deployment completing. Just that tiny little bit left, so it should only be ideally like another 20 or 30 seconds. Go ahead and fire up a web browser while we're waiting. Come on, there we go. While that's happening, we can also look at some other things that are going to be interesting to us. First off, the issue of trust. We're going to go here to, going to fire up a management console. We're going to add the certificate snap in. So this is on the client computer. This is on that branch 2 PC. We're selecting the certificate store for the computer account. Okay. There we go. And let's see if we're done. We are done. We've deployed. So let's give this a try now. We'll go to let's go there. We're using Firefox. This actually brings up another point we can talk about in a second. So, but let's actually use a browser that will not exhibit that behavior, and then I'll mention what happened there. Okay, so here we are. We can see we have a padlock here, which means we're using a SSL encrypted connection here. So let's take a look at the certificate. All right, here we go. So here's the magic right here. So we can see that, yes, we have a certificate issued to support.microsoft.com, but look at this. It's been issued by p2.fmc.densemode.com. Well, isn't that interesting? So if we come look at the certification path, this is our Active Directory Certification Authority. This is the CA certificate we issued to Firepower Management Center, which then basically issued a dummy cert to this website. So here's what happened on the back end was the Firepower Management Center made its own SSL connection to this website and downloaded the content. And then what it's doing is it's then turning around and creating a second SSL connection to the client computer. And then so there's actually two sessions going on. So this is basically a classic like man in the middle situation where there's actually not one SSL session going on, but there's two. There's one between firepower, the firepower sensor, and support.microsoft.com, and then another session between the firepower sensor and branch 2 PC. And then and it's all working because we're signing that TLS session by using a certificate that the sensor created on the fly, and it signed that certificate using the certification authority. And I'm going to show you why it says the certificate is okay. Right here it says, okay, everything's cool, all the checks have passed, everything is fine. And the reason is, if you look under the hood and you look at the trusted certification authorities, look at this, CCI security-81-CA, and if you compare them, you'll see that is who issued the certificate to FMC. So this is like one of the really nice things about Microsoft PKI, if you have a Windows Active Directory domain in your company, is that when you roll this out, you can use other PKIs, but the Microsoft one is easy because it makes it very straightforward to take this certificate right here. It goes into a group policy object, which is then pushed out to all the domain joined computers. And so all your domain joined computers will have the certificate for that CA, and then you can use that to build out your PKI, and everybody's happy. So let's talk about why we got that error message, this unknown issuer error message with Firefox. The reason is Firefox uses its own certification authority, and you basically have to. It's got its own certificate store. So it doesn't use the Windows certificate store. It has its own built-in certificate store. So you would have to manually go and add the 81CA certificate to the trusted certification authorities area of the certificate store of the Firefox browser. So as you can see, though, we have verified that everything is working. Our SSL Decrypt is functional, and life is good. So there you go. Like, share, subscribe, yada. Have a great day. Thank you.